Welcome to Florida Men on Florida Man with Greg, Wayne, Josh, and Cameron, the podcast where Floridians discuss the legends, lore, and crazy stories that always seem to take place in Florida.
Florida.
Guys, it's episode 94.
It's Florida.
Wow.
And
94.
We were just sitting here reminiscing about the good old days.
The best old days.
The good old days, episode 1 through until we had transition music.
I think like 4.
I don't know.
I don't know that I'd call those the good old days because those were some scary times.
We came fresh out of our podcasting 101 training course.
Right.
That we read on that PDF.
Right.
And
we
paid a lot for it.
We did, yeah. It's weird. $39 a person.
I know.
I
We
remember
could've
being
made
so
copies.
nervous. We did a rehearsal episode, not even in the studio, like in
No
my
mics.
office,
Like a demo.
and it was scary. And then we come into
Because we
here.
recorded on the phone, right?
It was way different too. I think Josh told a story like Wayne does almost. Like he did the main story.
I was trying to
Which
get.
is why we went in a different direction.
I was trying to get the guys to play like games, like Guess Who games, and
This is true.
It was not looking good.
Yeah, it's weird that Guess Who, that board game, doesn't
Yeah.
translate
No, doesn't.
Into a
radio.
podcast, we didn't know. They didn't say that on the PDF.
They did not.
We didn't learn that, but we appreciate you guys for sticking around this long. Wow, what a vibe! You know what I mean?
94.
It's been so great. So
We're getting close to 100.
Or if you're here for the first time.
I was going to say, if you're here for
Don't
the
go
first
back.
time, this is kind of the
Don't go back.
the outline of our show is Cameron starts us off
Yep.
reading some headlines.
Mm-hmm.
Josh does a segment that we call
Hello.
the icebreaker,
It's
where it's
okay.
kind of like,
That's-
hey,
It's okay.
let's get to know the host. They're kind of goofy and
It's
silly.
below average.
And
I'd say so.
statistically,
Okay.
statistically, the best part of the show,
Oh.
Wayne covers.
Easily.
And everybody writes in and they say how much they love it while they're complaining about the first 2 segments.
90% of our messages that we get are about how good Wayne is.
Thank you guys so
But
much.
the thing is, Wayne is the only one that reads the messages, and
Yeah.
he tells them about it, like tells us about the messages. So
I'm like,
Prints them
guys,
out for us.
Got another
a little
couple thousand
fishy.
flirtatious messages this week.
When he prints out an email and it's just a Word doc, that's
Yeah.
where I get suspicious.
Yeah,
little
and,
weird.
and they're all sent from Gmails that say like Wayne at Yahoo.
I love Wayne.
I love it so much.
Okay, headlines.
This is what we've all waited for.
Listen, I just want to tell you boys that we're about to stack up the shame corner.
Get
Come
it, baby.
on, let's fill it up.
They're
Stack
going to
'em
be
up.
filled up today. So our first one is a Florida man that was arrested for stealing someone's mail
Okay,
while only wearing his underwear.
that's fine.
Which
Okay,
is
yeah, I can
classic.
see how the underwear would be a problem.
Right.
Yeah. So the victim came out and told authorities that she went outside to find a man in his undergarments
Okay.
taking mail out of her mailbox. So when she asked the guy what he was doing, and this is 64-year-old David Dunaway, he began yelling at her, attempted to attack her, and she's in her vehicle at this point.
Right.
She's a drive-up mailbox.
Yeah,
Yes.
so she was driving up. He tried to attack her within her vehicle, so he swung at her through the car window.
Whoa.
That's a big exoskeleton to go through first to get to
Yeah.
that person.
That's hard. That's a hard, like,
it is a hard.
you got to aim pretty well. But he did end up hitting her, but he
Jeez.
only hit her with the mail. It's like a bad puppy. Like,
Yeah, like he likes. Yeah.
Okay, this sounds like the story was exaggerated. Was he just handing her mail?
yeah. He was the mailman.
He's like, good morning, good morning, God bless you.
The mailman.
So, anyways, the woman drove away a short distance to, just try to get away from
Naturally.
him.
Right.
But he followed her, chased her, and started
64.
years old. In his undies. Tried to attack her again, and that's when the homeowner pulled out a handgun
Jeez.
Oh my
that she
goodness.
keeps in the vehicle and say, listen, I don't want to shoot you, but you need to get away from me.
I don't know if a 64-year-old male in his underwear could even recognize a gun if he's chasing someone
Now,
in a car.
if I'm in a car and a guy in
Yes.
his underwear is chasing me, I would just drive off.
That's the thing.
I think you just have to drive off.
Yeah, well, she did. She drove.
Into a dead end?
No, she drove away, and he kept attacking. Well, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, unless he's really fast, like
Yeah.
the guy from Terminator 2.
I think that's
did
what
he
I
turn
think
into
this is the
silver
guy from
liquid?
Terminator
Okay,
2.
now I get it. That makes
the
more
age
sense.
thing makes sense now because it's been about 30 years.
That's it.
So as soon as she took out that gun, he just split. He's like, not worth it.
Yeah,
I'm out.
But he kept the mail though.
He kept the mail. He was arrested and charged with burglary, with assault, and resisting an officer without violence. Yeah, his custody, he's a bond of $60,000 for that.
Ooh,
It's pretty high.
I'm going to say those are whitey tighties.
oh yeah.
I'm going to say
for
what everybody's
sure.
thinking.
yeah.
Those are
when
whitey
I
tighties.
imagined him running after
Yeah.
her,
BVDs?
it was in Whitey Tighties.
BDVDs.
All right, our next
Hold
one
on,
is...
before you get going.
Okay.
I mean, do you remember catalogs?
Sears catalogs.
I would steal some catalogs.
JCPenney catalogs.
Right?
Yeah. The magazine
Victoria's
catalogs, yeah.
Secret, I think he was after.
He probably was.
I don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. No, I don't think so.
No, you
I
don't
think he
think-
was looking for a new lawnmower from Sears.
National
Amen.
Geographic.
Coupon.
Come
Yes.
on, there you go.
Amen.
Anyways, our next headline is about a Florida woman from Largo.
Okay.
Just a bad daughter.
Sounds bad.
Bad
Shame.
daughter. Okay. So the woman was arrested for domestic battery after she attacked her own father
okay.
because he was farting.
Oh, okay. I was anticipating a serious crime here.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Like
flatulence can be bad.
Mail thievery. That's what I thought was happening.
Male thievery, yeah.
Well, I guess she, Nicole, she's 40 years old.
Okay.
Okay. I think
Yep.
by then you should learn to not punch your father for just, having some gas.
Well, that
right?
means it's
Right.
built up for 40 years, and she's told him for the last 30.
Please stop.
Stop farting in my face
Right.
while I'm sleeping.
after 40 years, she just had enough.
She just had enough.
She just broke down. Well, the victim, the father who just had, a little gas, had a bloodied left eye, scratches all over his neck. And so his daughter was charged with domestic battery.
Problem solved.
So
Yeah.
you got to be careful,
You think he's going to fart anymore?
No, definitely
Nah,
not.
See,
That's the thing.
She
though,
proved her
man.
point for sure.
she just.
So what did she go to jail?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
That's
There's a lot of
domestic battery.
farters in jail, though.
She's going to have a hard time.
She's going to have a hard
She's going to
time.
have a hard time getting out because you need to behave when you're in jail. But if your roommate, your cellmate,
roommate, they
tooting or
call it,
something.
your vacation mate in jail, farting,
Yep.
depending on what they served for lunch that day,
Oof,
Yeah.
she's
it's
gonna
always beans.
have a hard time behaving.
And newbies are on top bunk.
Right.
There are a lot of bean type meals in
There
prison.
are a lot of bean-based meals.
I've heard that
yeah.
in jail. So anyways, our next one. Okay, just rolling straight through
Let's
here.
do it.
We have a
Steamroll.
Florida woman that got in trouble for selling cars.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
But-
I mean, I've wanted to lock up people that have sold me cars before.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, she was selling them for really cheap. Okay. So
sounds great
that's
to me.
what she
Awesome.
got flagged for was somebody found out she was selling these cars for really cheap. So they started looking into it.
It's a tough economy. You got to let your car go.
Well,
for
it
cheap
definitely
now.
is. Yeah. So what happened was she was squatting at a house.
Okay.
Okay. She's not the owner. She doesn't technically, I guess if she's squatting, she is living there.
I'm anti-squatting.
But the
Right.
homeowner was in hospice care. Okay. And so this South Florida woman found 4 cars that belonged to the homeowner.
I'm sorry.
Found the titles and his license, and basically sold 4 cars for $25 to $50 each.
Question.
$25
I know.
for a car. Four
Was she
of them.
trying to make money?
She did make money.
Well, yeah, I guess
She got them for free.
$200
Yeah.
But my thing is, she probably wouldn't have gotten caught had she sold them at normal price.
Right. Yeah. If she sold them for 10, 15 grand, I mean,
Yeah.
she would have just been selling a car. But she did have she found the titles for him somehow. But yeah, she sold them. Deputies found out about this, came and picked her up. But she
I
said
just got a hell of a deal. I'm gonna call the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure that out. Was somebody bought a car for $50?
Yep.
And they didn't think it was
Well,
sketchy
yeah,
before
wouldn't
they
wanna-
bought it?
Why would they turn themselves in? They just got a $25
This is what
car.
I think happened. Someone bought the car, bragged about it on Facebook.
Probably.
Nobody likes a bragger.
Somebody.
Most people like to brag about, oh, look at this expensive
Bingo.
car.
Yeah.
But if you get a really good deal, I'm talking like really, really, really good deal. You're going to brag about
like
that.
99% off.
At least.
Yeah.
You won't even brag if you get given a car, but if you get it for dirt cheap, you'd be like,
Right.
yeah, I'm bragging about
Yeah,
this.
free cars, that's not something to brag
Nish,
about.
nish. No.
$25 for a car?
I would be scared to buy it. I would
Would you?
assume something was wrong with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
I think
someone
so.
was like, "This car's $25," I'd be like, "Okay, is it going to explode when I leave?" Like,
If it moved forward, I'd say it's worth $25.
I think she was interested in either, a little bit of money or some drugs.
Definitely
so
a
either
little
way,
bit of money.
If you had either one of those, she would have sold you the car.
okay, I see what you're
I
saying.
wish I had a little bit of money or drugs back then.
Yeah.
All right, our next Florida man, he is down in Miami.
Come on.
So U.S. Marshals
Okay.
got involved with this. This man was wanted by the U.S. Marshals.
no good.
The article doesn't say why though. Why he was
Crime.
wanted. Yes.
I think crime is a major contributor.
He
Yeah.
probably bought one of those $25 cars.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation said a man on a jet ski fled from authorities
Come
after
on.
being
Love a
pulled
jet ski.
over
Yeah.
at a sandbar in Miami.
Come on.
And so they were trying to capture this guy
This
on
is
a
a
jet
Florida
ski.
story. If there's any Florida story,
I mean, he was out in the middle of the ocean in this bay, and just like they had boats chasing after him. A helicopter got involved, but they're trying to catch this guy on a jet ski, and that's it. That's all the article says.
What?
they
That's
are
it.
filming a movie, right?
He was having
This is
too
not
much
real.
fun.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. When you live in Miami and you're out there in your trunks, your swim trunks,
Yep.
Yeah.
and you're standing up on your jet dew and you're flowing,
Yep, that's the thing.
through the water, and people see you. They're on vacation. You're not on vacation.
Especially if you got the one that spits
shoots the water
out.
spout in the
Oh,
back, and they're like,
so
"That guy's having
braggy.
too much fun. You better call the cops."
The weird thing though is the article doesn't say anything about why they were trying to get him in the first place, and it also doesn't say what the charges. Like they would not release information on what charges he would be facing from that, which is
Excessive
kind of
fun?
fishy.
Something-
Like even you could say like resisting arrest,
Right.
but
It's probably something big.
I feel like there's
It's something big.
else.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing:
Yeah.
you don't just start off on a jet ski.
No.
So that
No,
means
I don't think you can
But
physically.
I wonder if they chased him, and he was like, "Oh, here's a jet ski."
Wow.
And now we got a water chase.
and he like
Yeah.
jumps on it.
Is there
And they
any
call-
video or anything? Is he in trunks?
You
Shirt
can't
on or
tell. The
shirt off?
video's from like a helicopter.
I bet he's got a mullet.
Oh yeah.
I bet he's got and a gold chain. I guarantee
Absolutely
it,
a
dude.
gold
I just
chain.
picture him like James Bond.
I
You
picture
think-
him really handsome.
You think he threw
Oh, he's
flip
definitely
flops
handsome.
at the boats?
Oh,
that were
yeah.
chasing him.
He did.
All right, we have one more.
Come on.
This happened in Polk County.
That's what I'm talking about.
Welcome
Okay.
home, baby.
These homeowners happened to see they were moving, and
Okay.
they get into the storage shed, open the storage
Yikers.
shed, and boom! What do they see in Florida?
A ghost.
Hold on.
A ghost.
A ghost is where I was going.
It's not a ghost. It's an alligator in their
Come on.
in their storage shed. So they called the Polk
One
County
that they
sheriff.
had put in there previously.
No,
Oh,
no, they have nothing to do with.
They
the
were not
storage shed.
storing the
They just
alligator.
happened to
Okay.
see it.
yeah.
just curious.
So they
Came
called,
with the house.
Yeah, they called Polk County Sheriff, and they sent out deputies. And this is a quote from the sheriff.
Yes.
Deputy Trexler went to a call about an alligator in a storage shed.
Mm-hmm.
He came, he saw, he conquered the beast. He even knocked the wind out of it.
Okay.
Literally,
With a bullet.
because the gator turned out to be a pool floaty.
Oh, what?
Oh my.
What? Hold on.
It is realistic looking though. Here, I'll
Okay,
show you a
let me see
picture real
this.
quick.
That is realistic.
It's not just like
looking.
one of those
Okay.
fake green
All right,
gators.
wow.
Like it looks pretty realistic.
So they opened their storage thing and they're like, all right, so the storage place I gave my money to is not alligator proof.
Right.
This is good to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Should I get another peek at that thing?
Well, then
Or-
Deputy T. Rexler comes
Bingo.
and he uppercuts it right in the
He's on a
stomach.
dino level with
I think he gives
Yeah.
him the
Oh, he
elbow.
elbowed
Yeah,
him.
drops him.
Nice.
He comes out and goes, "This is your alligator," and it's deflated.
You know, he
But
probably
he like crumples up in a ball just to make a point.
yeah.
Like,
he probably like said, "Stay back." He goes in, he closes it, and he just starts making banging sounds. Like it's a whole wrestling match.
that would
So,
be great.
Was
honestly.
would be
that
great.
was that Sheriff Grady Judd who made that quote?
It was the sheriff's like Twitter. So
Oh, gotcha.
not-
Okay,
you know, who knows?
So he didn't hold a press conference.
I wish he did, and I hope he did, and
I'm
I
sure
just
he
missed
will.
it. But yeah, he probably will.
I would
he
love
likes
that.
press conferences.
Yeah, he
Definitely
does.
So that's it.
Awesome. Great
Yeah,
headlines.
that was fun.
I mean, I think we have four people in the shame corner.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we got-
storage people they need to be better with their eyes.
They
I
didn't
think
know
so,
any
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
They were there by accident. I think jet ski guy,
Yeah.
no shame corner for him.
Yeah, because we don't know his story.
We don't know his story. He's probably
And he
a
just
hero.
sounds like a cool guy.
I think Daddy Puncher.
Yep.
I think
Daddy, yep.
the guy that steals the catalogs in his
Yep.
underwear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the woman who sold the cars for cheap. All three go in the shame corner.
Yeah. Stack them.
Stack them up, baby.
Stack them up, baby.
Let's do it.
Hey, fellas.
Hey,
Josh.
Good to see you guys.
So
Yeah.
good to see you.
I got a letter, which is odd for
Okay.
us. They said, you've been talking a lot of relationship stuff.
We have been.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick of it.
It's our
Yeah,
bread and
me
butter.
too.
I mean, I'm sorry. I love it.
Oh, well,
I love
thank
it.
you. Thank you.
I want to find you
The
the most gorgeous,
That's what I've been
most
Googling.
amazing man that you'll
Thank you.
ever could imagine.
Right.
I've Googled it, and it's Brad Pitt in Fight Club. It's like the most.
I would argue. I'm going to argue against that, but not now.
You don't
Let's
think-
get Brad.
okay.
No.
Yeah.
Guys, what's your shortest relationship?
My shortest relationship.
You
I'll
guys
go,
have some
So
great
like
stories.
least successful.
Mhm.
Okay.
Least
Thank-
successful or worst that ended quickly.
okay.
Cool. Shortest.
Yeah, I'll kick us off. This happened not too long ago.
Oh no!
So this is awkward because
Haven't you been married for like 10
You're
years?
in a relationship.
This is
so
awkward because I'm married, but
Does she know?
she
think
does
it's gonna
know.
be really
she
awkward.
fell in love too.
Okay. Wow.
Hello.
Wow.
So we were outside with our kids, having a good time, doing family stuff during the quarantine, and baby
Oh,
kitty,
this is really recent.
baby kitty cat,
No,
walked up
Okay.
to the yard.
What kind of relationship is this?
God.
Just a friendship between humans and a kitty cat.
Oh no.
Okay.
Maybe I
Rip.
misunderstood the question.
God, sounds like it.
But this kitty cat came through the yard. We named him Good Munson, and
That makes sense.
he was really nice. And we put a collar on him. And I'm not a cat person. That's the thing is, I was just explaining to the boys before the show started. I don't like
Don't act
animals
like
that
this
much.
was like you taking ownership. Was this a cloth collar or a flea collar?
It was a cloth collar.
That's the first mistake. Cats don't want to be collared.
I know.
They're anti-collars.
But we did. It was sad though because here's the thing, man. This cat like came a part of our family, and
Okay.
my kids loved it. My wife loved it. I loved it, which was the biggest shock to everybody.
Do you remember the question? Shortest relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
And now this is a part of your family?
This is about a cat.
Well, it became part of our family in 3 days.
Okay.
I fell in love with it,
Okay.
and I went out to feed it, and it never came back again.
Jesus.
And
It
so
stole your collar?
that was the
Wow.
shortest. I know. So Good Munson came
you-
into our hearts,
Yeah.
broke our hearts.
Wow.
And
That's
if
wide
he's
open.
listening, meow, buddy.
Meow, baby.
So maybe I misunderstood the question. That's my shortest relationship.
Well, I guess it is a relationship. and
Thank
it
you.
is
You didn't
short.
clarify that it was romantic or not.
It's the letter.
This is
can't
weird.
Dictate the
It was
letter.
This is
Platonic.
weird because when I was in 7th grade,
Okay.
this cat came into our yard.
Come on.
What? Hold on. Identify these cats. What do these cats look like?
Brown.
Mine was brown too.
Oh my. Okay.
Wait, was yours called Good Munson?
It was Munson good.
Oh my gosh.
Munson's so
They're
good.
the same cat.
Jesus, bro.
It's so weird.
I see it.
I think
now.
it was Munson Senior,
Yeah.
Oh,
but
wow,
yeah,
bro.
he came into our life. And by he, I mean she.
Yeah.
Had babies.
Was she big bellied back then?
Yeah, yeah,
This is intriguing.
and she had 5 babies. One of them
Yes.
only had one eye when it was born.
No
that's great.
way.
Yeah, and then she just took all her little babies.
Dude, our
away.
Good Munson only had one eye.
That's
Was the
super
one eye
weird.
in the middle? 'Cause
Yes.
that's-
Oh,
my-
no.
Okay.
I think
No.
I think his was.
It
but
was
I'm
Left Eye.
scary.
We called him Lisa Left Eye.
Lisa Left Eye Good Munson Lopez.
How about you, Josh? Do you have a short
Well,
relationship?
7th grade, I had a cat.
Okay.
Wow.
No.
This is
Wait,
weird.
what?
I'm looking
What
at the wrong
segment
notes here.
is this?
Okay.
So, I don't think you guys know this story
All right.
because, when I went back into my memory of shortest relationships,
Right.
there was that one where the girl had a cold
Right.
and I started dating her and then she got over the cold and
Yeah.
I realized that
Oh,
I didn't like her personality.
cold. I thought you said colt.
No,
Because we've had those
That's
too.
also happened.
Yeah.
That has happened.
Okay, cold. Sorry.
Yeah. But so after my first private school,
Right.
venture. That school got closed down
Right.
in the middle of my 10th grade year.
That's not convenient for you.
No. It was highly inconvenient for most of the students. Also.
Right.
So I get put into public school.
Okay. That's probably a good change for you, though.
Yeah. Well, it was hard. Bro.
Yeah.
They really
Right,
teach
it's
stuff
scary
in
there.
public school.
I know.
Private school didn't teach you nothing.
I've heard some terrible stories about public school.
Oh, no, yeah. Well, I can contribute. So Lakeland High School, home of the Dreadnoughts.
Wow.
Come on, let's get naughty.
So day before, the
Okay.
day before the school, I know I'm going. Obviously, hella nervous.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I throw up in the sink.
Oh,
Right.
woof.
Yeah, because after middle school, it was like once you're a freshman in real high school, you're going to get beat up.
Oh, yeah.
That's what all the movies say.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
So, but luckily, that's when I was put in the first private school.
Okay.
So now I have that nervousness again of going back to public school.
Right.
I'm like, now I'm going to get jacked, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
So I didn't get jacked exactly, but so day one, walking down the halls, it's stereotypical. I got the schedule here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my schedule and I'm like, okay, A23 is my class.
Yeah.
No,
That's the
nothing's
worst.
identified,
No.
especially
Half the
middle of
signs
the
are
year.
missing.
Yeah. Nobody's writing like, hey, this is A23,
Right.
middle of the year. So I spend like 45 minutes while everybody's in class looking for my homeroom.
For sure.
So you didn't learn anything that period.
Well, kind of. I walked into one class and immediately later they're like, wrong room.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what? How do you know I'm in the wrong room?
Right.
I'm like, this is the type of welcome you get?
Public
so,
school.
Yeah, public school. So I finally find the room. I stumble in late. So teacher, she sits me down and she's like, okay, yeah, get over there in that open desk behind Brenda.
Right.
So I see a stout female.
Well, okay.
Yeah. I sit down. I've got, because in my private school, I didn't need a backpack because you really weren't learning anything.
Right.
So now I've got this pristine JanSport.
Right.
I've got, I'm pulling out my Walgreens school supplies
Perfect.
that I had picked up.
Yep.
Looking around the room and I'm like, okay, I see the drift here. Everybody's got like a desk that has like a rack underneath
Right.
and everybody's got their feet up on the rack.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sweet.
I remember those.
So I'm like, well, let me just fit in.
Yeah.
So I stretch my feet out and I hear crunch, pop, crunch.
What?
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then Brenda and I both look down and she's like, GD. And apparently I had popped a bag of her chips.
No.
I hadn't paid attention that people were storing stuff there. So
Right. My
first interaction with this girl, Brenda,
Smashed her.
I smashed her
chips.
chips.
Yeah.
And so I was obviously apologetic. So I'm like, I'll buy you some more. And she's like, good luck. My mom had those imported from the UK.
What?
I'm like,
What kind of chips are these?
Yeah, where would you store? I think they were like prawn and like wasabi flavor. It was
Right.
weird.
Ugh.
So she's like, let me see your schedule. Because I guess she saw the confidence that I walked in
Yeah.
with. And she's like, we're in the same classes. So why don't you just follow me?
Okay.
Well, that's convenient.
Yeah, it is really convenient.
But she's mad at you, so I don't know how
well,
convenient.
she's kind of mad. I think, I warmed up to her with
Right.
my wit and charm,
Yeah, that's true.
tickling her.
Right. Right.
So bell rings. And at the door on the way out, she goes, here, hold on to this. The halls get rough. You don't want to bump into the wrong person. So I look down and she's got this like lanyard. You remember those lanyards
You put your keys on.
that you put your keys
Okay,
on?
right.
And it says like girl power on it.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, cool. Spice Girls.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And I'm like, oh, Spice Girls had a song called Girl Power. So, but no, that
Not a
wasn't,
listener.
that
Right.
wasn't it.
Not
yeah.
a fan.
So I hold on to this thing that's coming out of her pocket, this lanyard.
Wait,
And-
hold on a second.
Like a leash?
She's got a.
Well, the halls are rough.
So you just met this girl, Brenda.
Yep.
She's got a lanyard coming out of her pocket. She's instructed you to hold on to it so she can guide you through the hallways.
Right,
Yeah,
but
'cause-
you described her as stout, so you are following this stout woman around in the halls.
Yeah, she's a girl. She's not a full-grown woman.
Right.
Oh, stout
we're
girl.
in 10th
Sorry.
grade.
Right.
I mean, she had been held back,
Yeah.
so she was 1 year older than me.
Right.
That explains some things.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm holding on to the lanyard, through after first period, second period, third period, and I'm like, oh sweet, water fountain. So I drop it, and I'm like, I'll get some water. I said that in my head.
yeah.
So I head over there and I turn around after I had, got my drink on.
Right.
That's what the term was back in the day.
Right.
I'm gonna get my drink on.
Makes sense.
And she's like, all you had to do was ask. I'm a good woman. I would have stopped for you.
Wait, what?
And I'm like, what? She had sense that I had dropped the lanyard
Right.
and stopped somehow, like someone had touched the end of her garment.
She felt power leave her body.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that red flag right there.
Right.
And then she goes, I mean, you gotta learn this stuff. You're going to be my boyfriend.
Oh,
what?
Yeah. So I'm like,
You're dating her now?
so now I'm into
been
the
claimed.
relationship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Sounds like it.
I mean, I'm not with a cat here.
Right.
But it's a short relationship.
Right.
So lunchtime, public school has a lot better options than private school. They were serving I remember meatloaf, and then like some club was selling like Pizza Hut slices.
Right.
So I'm like, jackpot, I'm going to get some za. And I'm standing there at the salad bar. Luckily, I've built the confidence up to let go of the lanyard.
Right.
And she's making 2 big salads. I'm like, dang, hungry girl. She got like hurling, I think, on her schedule.
Right.
So I'm
Well,
like,
you guys have the same schedule, so did you have hurling as well?
yeah, apparently.
Did you forget your hurling class?
So I'm like, I'm going to go over there and get some za.
Right.
And she goes, I got your meal right here.
She made lunch for you?
Yeah. She didn't ask me any of my toppings
I mean, that's a good girlfriend.
through
though.
the salad bar.
I know.
And I don't like olives.
Right.
They're not a flavor that should be in a salad.
You do
What-
now, though.
Was it olive heavy?
It was olive heavy,
Yeah.
black olive heavy.
Yeah.
So
Come on.
so I'm like, well, I mean, okay, I guess I'm having the salad.
Yeah.
Salad, no
Yeah.
za.
Yeah.
But on the way to the chairs, hot lunch lines right there, and I see these hot buttered rolls, and I'm like, jackpot.
You gotta
I'm gonna get a little carbs.
You got to have some carbs.
because she didn't crouton my salad.
It's a long day.
Especially before your hurling class. You need energy.
Exactly. Yeah, for
real.
sure.
So on the way to our seats, I palm it, almost like a magician would hide a card. I palm it, hold it with my thumb.
This is a bun?
This is a roll. This is a dinner roll.
Oh, okay. A roll.
I palm it, and so we go to seats, and it's like Brenda sensed it again.
Right.
And I thought she was sticking out her hand to like help me lift my leg over so I could sit down on the bench seats.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
To help me balance because I was
Right.
kind of off balance.
Yeah.
And no, she just grabbed the roll from my hand.
She took it from you?
Yeah, she just took it, and
Because you're not allowed to have it? Did she put you on a diet on like day one of dating?
Well, I didn't really. I wasn't confrontational,
Right.
so
It's
I
like
just.
hour one of dating.
That's true.
Well, we're like 4 hours in,
Oh,
Okay.
but she takes it and she grips this roll like it's the handlebar for a mountain bike.
Right.
what?
Like you're a league bowler and you just dropped a quarter in one of those grip test machines.
Right.
She grips this thing. I watched her knuckles go white. It was really trippy, and then the bread like squeezed between her fingers.
Oh, God. What's she doing to it?
Bro, it was nuts.
Was she angry or
She,
she just wanted it?
she's just looking at me.
Yeah.
And she took a bite, and then she goes, "They have the best rolls here."
But why did she smush it?
And then she says, "All you had to do was ask. I'm a good woman. I would have stopped for you." And I'm like, "What's happening here? What is public school? What am I living in right now?"
So a stout Brenda
yeah,
has
Confident.
led you through the hallway by her lanyard.
Yeah.
Her girl power lanyard.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
She made you a salad.
yes,
And now you got a roll because you need some energy. She takes the roll, she mushes it and eats it.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not seeing the problem here, boys. Like, I don't see
Amen,
why you're
baby.
not with Brenda right now.
It's supposed to be your shortest relationship. It sounds
Yeah.
like your best relationship.
Honestly.
Well, a confident woman I do like,
Right.
and I'm not great on my own direction, so
Right.
it's not a bad match.
Yeah, it
Right.
sounds great.
I'm not in contact with her now.
Okay,
but-
well, what happened?
So after lunch, she takes me to the office because during that lunch break, my phone had been stolen.
Okay.
And she's like, "See, this is why you need to hold on to the lanyard." I'm
You
like,
lost
"It
your
was stolen
phone?"
out of my backpack."
Right.
Like I had it in the clear pouch on the back.
Your first day of public school is not
Oh,
going well.
No, it's not good at all.
In the clear pouch. Who puts their phone in the clear pouch?
I didn't know the rules.
With your pencils?
Yeah.
So
Nobody ever stole anything from them at private school.
I know.
nothing at all.
Too much trust.
So she takes me to the office. I'm like, "Oh, I guess I got to report this." And she goes, "Call your parents and let them know that you don't need a ride home. You're coming to my house for dinner." So I'm like, what?
You've been kidnapped by a slightly older
Yeah.
child.
You're in this, bro.
Oh, get this. My dad started me at this public school on a Friday. I'm
Okay.
like, just let me have Friday off.
Right.
Like private school closed down on Wednesday.
Right.
I got Thursday off. I'm in private school on Friday.
Or a
Yeah,
public
but it
school
sounds
Friday.
like
Friday.
it sounds like you're gonna go home. Maybe you could stop at Blockbuster on the way,
That's what I'm talking about.
grab a movie to watch together. You have a romantic evening.
Yeah. No, that's not what happened at all.
jeez.
Okay.
I really wish. So I call my house, which wasn't part of the deal. I would never need to call my house for anything. So I
Right.
call my house, and my stepmom answer, and I'm like, "Hey, Mary, it's Josh."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Josh, who?" So I'm like, I'm like your stepson. I won't be coming home. I won't be coming straight home.
I got a girlfriend.
Yeah, I got a girlfriend. I'm going. I'll be home later, so I don't need a ride. And
Right.
she's like, "Oh, well, thanks for calling. I guess I'll tell your father."
Okay.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, thank you." Yeah. So I mean, I just did what Brenda told me to do because of that call.
obviously.
You're in the clear.
Yeah.
So the rest of the afternoon, I hold that lanyard, baby. I walk around. Confidence
Right.
is key here.
Yeah.
After school, she's like, "My dad will be parked up front," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we head outside. Nice white Volvo. I get in, and he's like, she's like, "Dad, this is Josh. Mom knows he's coming over," and he's like, "Okay, great to meet you, Josh. My name's James." And I'm like, "Okay."
Okay.
And we try to do the awkward handshake, but he's like,
Yeah.
Right.
that's-
Right.
you know how it is. So we show up to this house off the lake, which is nice. Looks good. Looks like a law office. It's kind of weird.
The house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it says on the sign, it says Dr. Dames, psychiatrist.
At the house?
Yeah, at the house. So I'm
Okay.
like, okay, well,
Interesting.
some people work from home and they can have, so
Right.
it's on this wooden placard on the door. And so I turned to James and I'm like, "Oh, cool. You're a psychiatrist?" And he's like, "Oh, no, not at all. I'm just the assistant. I wish I was smart enough to do that." And I'm like, "Oh." So I'm like,
Okay.
"Where are we now?"
What did the sign say again?
Dr. Dames,
His name
psychiatrist.
was James Dames.
He just said he wasn't the doctor.
He's the assistant. So now I'm really confused because I'm like, where are we? Are we going to his work?
Wait,
Right.
pay attention.
I'm listening.
Right? I have to wait for her dad to get off of work.
Yeah,
Just to
right.
go to her house for dinner.
Right. Right.
And so she busts in and she's like, "Mom, I'm here." And I'm like, "What?"
Oh no.
And so mom comes around the corner and my guess was that she was an Olympic hurler.
Okay.
She was, gosh, she was stout. Diesel, intimidating. And she's like, "Hello, Dr. Brenda Dames. Dr. Brenda Dames Sr. We normally don't
hold
eat
on.
dinner."
Okay, hold on. Her name is also Brenda. But Brenda Senior?
Yeah, she's
Is that a thing?
Your girlfriend's name is Brenda Jr.
at the time, that day, yeah. So she says, "I'm Dr. Brenda Dames Sr.
Got it.
Okay.
We normally don't eat dinner at 4 p.m., but Brenda Jr. called me and begged me. So I have
She's
Rosa
hungry.
laying out the plates."
Okay.
And I'm like, this is
Rosa.
the weirdest situation I've been
Yeah,
in.
what
And
are
I've
you
been in
eating
a
it
lot.
for?
Yeah.
So now I have a Brenda Sr., Brenda Jr.
Brenda Jr. is your girlfriend.
Yeah. And I have a James Dames, the assistant. And he's a cool guy.
Assistant doctor? I think they call those nurses, right?
He was like running the office. He's like office manager.
Okay, got it. He's the
of
secretary.
of a one-person office.
He's the secretary.
So she tells me Rosa's laying out the plates. Bro, she turned military style, like on her heel.
Brenda
180.
Senior?
Yeah, Brenda Senior walks away. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so naturally,
You're in this.
I'm sweating now thinking about it.
Yeah,
was
me too,
drenched.
bud.
I was drenched in there. And so I'm like, your mom's name is Brenda too? And she's like, it's Brenda Senior. But yeah, I'm Brenda Junior. I was named after my mom. And I think
Thanks for clearing that up.
yeah, she must have thought I meant Brenda 2 TWO.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. which is
Brenda as
weird.
well.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.
So her and she goes upstairs. Me and James,
The secretary.
the secretary, go
Yeah.
to the dining room.
Right.
Rosa is the help, and she is laying out plates.
Right.
Gotcha.
It's a pretty intense scene.
It
Yeah,
sounds
I mean,
like
I-
it.
So I'm talking to James, and he's asking me about myself and what I want to do with my life,
Sure.
etc.
Sure.
And I'm like, I'd like to be a cartoonist,
Right.
Okay.
for Disney. And he's like, he lights up. He's like, no way.
That's going well for you right now.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm really knocking it out of the park with the Disney cartoons because
right.
they're a hit right now.
Yeah.
Live action has obviously hurt the bank.
Exactly.
Right.
But,
You were supposed to draw the new Mulan, but
Yeah, for
didn't
some
work out.
reason.
Right.
Never got the call.
I can't draw real humans. So he's like, I used to draw cartoons in school. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And he's like, yeah. What art school are you considering? You know, we hit it off.
Cool.
And he's like, you're like a carbon copy of me, bro. And I'm like, oh, true?
I don't know if that's a compliment.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
So no food yet, obviously.
Yeah.
Just water, dinner rolls.
Right.
He grabs a dinner roll and a wrapped pad. That's how you know you're high class. He's got a wrapped pad of butter.
Right.
So Brenda Senior walks by, and I can feel she is ticked. She's,
About what?
I don't know. I don't know if it's because Rose is not having the food or because it's a last minute meal.
Gotcha.
So on their second pass, James is unwrapping his butter, and she walks by. She grabs his roll, squeezes
no.
the air out of it,
What?
takes a bite, and she's like, "Rosa makes the best rolls," and then looks at him and says, "All you had to do was ask." I'm a good woman."
No.
And I'm like, "Holy hell, what is happening?"
Ask for what?
And then she goes, and I'm like, "Okay, this is too much. This is too much." I'm now like in my seat, physically uncomfortable. It's like, and he can see I'm uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable.
I was very uncomfortable.
What's your girlfriend doing this whole time?
She's upstairs changing for
Okay.
this dinner date.
Bro, you better get out. Now's the time.
So then the attention's focused on me, Brenda Senior, and she goes, and I remember this because it's like her tone changed,
Right.
and she goes, "You're so ambitious, aren't you? What? You know what you look like to me, with your good bag and your cheap shoes. You look like a rube, a well scrubbed, hustling rube with little tastes. Good nutritions give you a length of bone." But you're not more than one generation from poor white trash, are you? And that accent you so desperately trying to hide. Pure Polk County. What's your father, dear? Is he a citrus man? Does he stink at the Grove? Oh, how quickly the girls found you. All those tedious, sticky fumblings in the backseat of cars, while you could only dream of getting out. Getting anywhere. Getting all the way to my dinner table. Bro, I promise you, I don't know. I've never remembered anything in my life
Oh my god.
with more detail. But it was like,
Did you quote that from her?
yeah. I went
20 years ago?
I went home and wrote it down. I went home and wrote it down because I almost saw like her pupils go black.
Oh my gosh.
It was I didn't believe in demons at the Christian school, but one day in public school and at this person's house, I'm like, demons are real.
Why was Brenda Senior so mean, you think?
I do not know why.
How did you get out?
So she walks away. Obviously, I'm effing lost.
Yeah, same.
James sees me and he's like, he mouths. Now I'm going to say this out loud, but he mouthed it. You should leave.
No.
Make up an excuse.
Yeah, James Dames, the secretary.
James Dames. Make up an excuse. I'll get you out of here.
Okay.
And so I'm like, what?
Is he trying to rescue you?
Make up an excuse.
Someone's got to rescue him.
So I start to get up and I go, I don't feel so good. And he goes, I think I'm going to take him home. And we like skip out. And
Yeah.
he gets in the car and he doesn't start talking until we're on the road. And by that time he's like, listen, you don't want this. You don't want this
Obviously.
future. You don't want this future at all.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen here. I've seen it before about 67 times. What? And he drives me home and he's like, just stay away from her.
Don't come back. So you left the
You
school.
have to change school now.
No, I went Monday. She didn't talk to me at all.
Oh, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, apparently. But apparently, the dad went to a railroad station, bought a ticket, and he left town.
What?
I guess I had given him the confidence, or I don't know what I gave him.
He knew
saved him.
if you could escape, he could escape.
Yes. So we both escaped. It's wild. That was my shortest relationship.
Brenda Jr. and Brenda 2.
Yeah.
The La Trinite set sail for Florida in 1565.
Trinite. You know the language here. That's Castellano,
Right.
Yes.
Spanish.
Set sail for Florida in 1565.
Get it?
1565.
Oh,
2020 minus
Almost
1565.
500.
Yeah, almost 500. I was
If
going
it
to
was
say
still
that.
alive, 500 years old. So
Approximately.
the La Trinite was a massive French ship.
French, yeah.
It was
Oui, oui.
one of the
Yeah.
lead ships in the French Navy fleet, and it had all the trappings of royalty.
Ooh.
Okay, so
Tell
if you
us.
were around back then, this is a military vessel, but if you were to see it, you'd be like, that's a luxury. It's a 16th century luxury cruise line.
That's a nice boat.
Yeah. La Trinite.
It's a nice boat.
Gold everywhere.
It was deadly, but also luxurious, which honestly, people have said the same thing about Cameron.
Yeah.
Yeah, deadly.
I know.
But luxurious, right?
Open carry.
Yeah.
But aboard the La Trinite and the fleet that followed it were thousands of soldiers, livestock, and supplies, and French colonists who were on their way to make Florida their brand new home.
Let's go, baby.
You know what
These
makes
are our
something-
ancestors.
Less luxurious. Livestock.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We got to get on a boat with cows.
Yeah.
So they're heading to Florida. The problem with this entire scenario is that there are lots of people who were already calling Florida home.
Yep. Yeah. That is
So-
a thing. I think over the globe, the entire globe had everybody calling where they live.
Everybody had a home
For the
somewhere.
most part, but
That's
now the French are coming to Florida to settle.
Right.
They want to be
Okay.
there.
They want
a
that
lot
to
of
be their
people are
home.
already there.
Yes.
Like we've covered that before in our show. Florida natives and other First Nation people lived here for centuries before any outsiders show up.
It's
Yes.
a weird thing.
But more importantly to this story, Spain controlled the state
At this point.
at this point.
And were
okay?
they inviting the French? Hey, come live here.
They were not.
They were not.
So
Okay.
life under Spanish rule was extremely rough, and in 1565 they controlled the absolute majority of the peninsula. There's nothing really there. It's just jungle and a couple little villages, but Spain
Yeah.
does rule it. And the French monarch, King Charles IX, he decides he wants to carve a piece of the New World out for himself, and he wants nothing but Florida. He wants Florida.
He wants Florida.
That's what he wants.
Well,
he
there's
wants
a first.
people to settle there. Yeah. So to clarify, the French weren't showing up to be liberators or anything like that. They simply just wanted a piece of the pie.
Okay, cool. Hey,
Right.
we know this is yours, but
Swamp pie,
yeah.
specifically.
Here's-
King Charles wanted the swamp pie.
Yeah.
That
And
sounds delicious.
historians have
I
always said
guarantee you that's a dessert at a Florida restaurant.
Swamp pie?
I guarantee.
It
it.
has to be.
100%.
Yeah.
that. So basically, King Charles sent scouting parties, and this was like a 1-month journey if the conditions are favorable.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're sent on these scouting parties, you're looking at approximately a 3-month round trip. And there was a chance that you would get back to the king in France and be like, oh, well, this is what we found. And he would be like, that's not good enough. Go look again.
A lot can change in 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he basically was sending these scouting parties like back and forth
Oh.
That
for
is so
months
crazy
on
to think
end,
about. Yeah.
just to be like,
Can
hey,
you just hide out for 3 months?
find me the best land. Find me the perfect
Yeah.
spot. Right.
Just
And
Google Map it.
Amen, baby.
Yeah, well, basically, after rounds and rounds of these search parties come back, or these scouting parties come back, King Charles IX decided on the exact spot in Florida that he wanted. It was in the northeast part of the state, right along the coast.
Uh-huh.
So they send a few preliminary expeditions,
Yep.
and they land safely there. And the French people were able to build and establish a small community that they called Fort Caroline.
This is what I don't understand.
Okay.
Back then, how do you know where you're going to land?
I have no idea.
Right?
You have to lick your fingers and put them in the wind.
Yeah.
And
What's
you
that
go
tell you?
That way.
And then you count stars and
Yeah.
then you
Oh, it's
turn
then you
around
land.
3
Yeah.
times and then you just land. Yeah.
And you land. You're
we
in Florida.
landed here before, right? And they're like, yeah, this is that one spot.
This
Let's go
is
tell the
Florida
king.
for sure. Yeah.
I wrote my name in the sand. It's still there.
So they built this place called Fort Caroline, and this is kind of the preliminary expedition. And this is where the vessel La Trinite comes into play. Because now that the French had a tiny foothold of settlers along the coast and an actual physical establishment, King Charles wanted to send this massive warship and a good chunk of the fleet to reinforce it. So they've got a little bit of land. They're sending the big dogs to come and go, hey, this is ours now.
Yep.
And so he calls a meeting with all of his advisors, and they elect Captain Jean Ribault to lead this gigantic expedition.
Oh, he's good.
So he's the best.
Good. Yeah.
So we're talking thousands of soldiers, settlers, livestock. They're now on the open seas headed to Florida.
Man, that sounds fun.
I mean,
Okay.
that sounds like a trip of a lifetime.
It really does.
There's only one problem.
Uh-oh.
The Spanish king, Philippe II,
Yep.
somehow catches wind that the French fleet led by the La Trinite,
Yep.
and he's like, nah, we got to deal with this.
I get it. Sailboats.
Yeah.
Catches wind.
I don't want these guys coming to Florida. This
Yeah.
is our place.
This is my
This is my
land
jungle.
that I own that I've never been to.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
It's beautiful, though. That's what the scouts
I've
say.
heard it. Yeah.
So the Spanish king, he tells his like number one kind of captain, Pedro Menendez,
Yep.
to take his fleet, his most powerful ships,
Okay.
and intercept the French one.
What?
So basically, we're
Now
talking
you got to
about
find another boat in the middle of the ocean?
well, we're talking about a massive navy battle in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
So the
I'm
king,
all for it.
Yeah,
I'm all
this
for it.
This is what they're aiming for. And so the French are coming to Florida. The Spanish want to basically keep control of it, and their plan is to duke it out somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean.
Life was so weird back then.
It really was.
I know.
Honestly.
Hey, I want this land that's not mine. No, that's my land that's not mine.
Exactly. But the one thing that the Spanish captain Pedro Menendez didn't anticipate was how incredibly fast the French fleet was.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing about when you're in power for so long, especially back then, you start to assume no one can compete with you. So
Right.
you always
Amen.
underestimate your opponents. So by the time Menendez got his fleet positioned in the Atlantic, the French fleet was parked off the coast of Florida, reinforcing the French holdout called Fort Caroline.
They snuck by him?
They snuck by him.
Nice.
Sweet Caroline.
So this really put the French in a strong position.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to be like, well, the Spanish rule the entire state. Like, what's one French location do?
Right.
True.
But now they hear it. Basically, they've been reinforced with thousands of soldiers and settlers now. So they got the walls protecting their forward-facing position, and the oceans at their back guarded by the La Trinite and the French fleet.
Wow, that sounds nice.
So the French is comfortable, right? They're hanging out there.
Yeah.
And the Spanish, their concern was if they're able to hold that spot for like a month, then more and more French are going to show up.
That's
Because it
all,
only
yeah.
takes a little bit to get over here.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's what's going to happen.
So the Spanish king, Philippe, he tells Captain Menendez, this is an actual quote. He says, I want you to drive out the French with fire and blood.
What?
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's
What's the
pretty good-
recipe for fire and blood?
Just dead bodies
Oh, jeez.
and
That's
matches.
the recipe?
Yeah. Here's the thing about Florida. Florida doesn't really pick sides. So it doesn't matter if you're technically the good guys or the bad guys, if you're native or non-native. Florida is a lawless swamp. It always
Right.
will be. It
It
does
hates everyone.
It does whatever it
It
wants.
hates everyone.
Exactly.
Florida hates everyone.
So the French are settling in nicely. They're defending their position. They're waiting for more reinforcements to arrive, and the Spanish are weeks away from being able to arrive and do anything about it. But surprise, it's a hurricane.
Oh,
God.
So
Wow.
a hurricane comes through,
it's too true.
obliterating the entire French fleet,
No.
What?
including the beautiful La Trinite.
Oh, my God.
And not only did it sink every ship, but it also destroys most of Fort Caroline.
Wow.
Oh no, Sweet Caroline.
That's no good.
So hundreds of French people are now dead
Oh.
in the storm, and the Spanish captain Menendez goes, "Now's my chance."
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So he rolls through, showing no mercy.
Doesn't take a captain.
Yeah, exactly.
Now's my chance.
10 days after that happened, approximately, he rolls through and basically slaughters every French citizen who refuses to
Jeez.
convert to Catholicism.
Wow.
What?
Looks like
Yeah.
I'm Catholic.
Yeah. So he gives him a chance and then just steamrolls him.
Wow.
And so the incident was so bloody that till this day, that area in our state is called Matanzas, which means the slaughter.
You didn't have to tell us.
No, we knew that.
You guys knew that.
Yeah.
So the Spanish king
Public
was
school,
so
baby.
yeah. The Spanish king was so thrilled that he basically gave Pedro Menendez free reign to do whatever he wanted afterwards.
Wow.
Okay.
And he did. He
Oddly
marched.
enough, he wanted his French girlfriend and her family to come over.
I know. Yeah. He's like, about that. He actually marched a few miles north and he founded the oldest city in the United States, St. Augustine.
What?
Whoa, okay.
Jeez.
Okay.
So now he's got this cool little hangout place. And some of this may sound slightly familiar because in episode 53, Here Be Water Dragons,
Yeah.
we
It's
cover a
old.
story where the Spanish were trying to settle Pensacola
Oh,
and their
yeah.
fleet was destroyed by a hurricane.
Okay.
Yes.
So just to show Florida doesn't pick sides. Florida
No.
is just like,
Hates everyone.
yeah, we hate
Hates-
everybody. Yeah.
hates everyone.
So basically, and this also isn't the only time we've mentioned Pedro Menendez because he's a huge part in Florida's history.
Yep.
In fact, one scholar actually said that Americans tend to think of themselves as a British colony that won freedom in 1776, but the country was first a Spanish colony for hundreds of years, and Pedro Menendez should have been a founding father.
Oh my gosh.
So
Because
thi-
he murdered the French.
well,
Yeah.
I think this guy was barbaric. He was brutal. But when the king, like Cameron touched on, he'd never seen this place. The king's over
No.
across the sea. Pedro is the one
Yeah.
just running stuff over in the
Love
U.S. Right?
Yeah.
And I love St. Augustine.
You do.
And he
Beautiful
he
city.
founded a nice city.
Yeah.
What's even more fascinating is all this happened back in 1565, but it's very relevant today. In
Right.
fact, people all over Florida have been discussing this for the past 5 years because in 2015, independent treasure hunters off the coast of Florida discovered a ship that turned out to be the La Trinite.
What?
Jeez.
Did you know this?
Yes.
Because I know you follow Shipwreck Weekly,
Exactly.
the
Yes.
newsletter.
So what's amazing is these treasure hunting groups actually have massive amounts of investors because theoretically, if you find treasure, then you're going to be hauling it up and you got all this gold and
Ideally,
yeah.
stuff that you
that's
can
the
sell.
goal, Yeah.
So when a group called the Global Marine Expedition, they find the La Trinite and they're like, hey, we won the lottery.
Jackpot.
This is it, right? So archaeologists were even saying this is the greatest historical discovery, one of them of all time.
Goodness,
Yeah,
wow.
this is huge, right? So the La Trinite has been on the ocean floor since 1565, but the ownership was a bit complicated because at the time that it sank, it was owned by the French, but it sank off the coast of Spanish-controlled Florida, which is now American-controlled Florida.
Right.
So 3 different countries are vying for control of this sunken ship currently,
Yes.
right? Well, not so much currently because there is a really obscure law called the Sunken Military Craft Act
Wow.
that basically protects any vessel
Of course.
that was on a military mission
Yeah.
at the time of its sinking, meaning that the
Oh.
originating
The
country
original.
can claim ownership of it.
So
Oh,
the French
geez.
own it.
So centuries later, maritime law rules in favor of the French, and the French literally responded last year and said, we don't really care about it.
What?
Meanwhile, the guys who discovered it, the treasure hunters, are like, we just want the treasure that we found. And the
Yeah.
U.S.
Yeah.
is like, get out of here. Stop.
Yeah.
It belongs to the French.
So
And the
they
French-
can't pull it up without
the-
permission.
Nice.
Right. And the French are like, we don't want it, but we also don't want you messing with it.
Well, it's like proof of their shame, though.
It kind of really
Oh,
is.
nice.
So as of right now, as the airing in this episode, the La Trinite actually sits off the coast of Florida, still just kind of resting there, full of treasure,
Sounds
full
like we
of
gotta-
gold.
Sounds like
Fella?
a trip.
If you guys don't have any plans this weekend,
Yeah.
maybe we can go do that. But that's the story of a beautiful ship
Sounds
that
beautiful.
tried once to settle on Florida.
And I'm sure you're pronouncing it exactly correct.
It- it
the
sounded like it
the
was in
French
the French
pronunciation.
tongue.
La Trinite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That,
feel like I'm there.
yeah.
It's spelled
Okay.
LATRENE TAY.
You can't see this, but Wayne just looked up in his brain to finish the spelling.
It's been a great week. We appreciate you guys hanging out.
Awesome.
Fabulous. Yeah.
Episode 94. If you want to see us online, our social media accounts are FMOFM Podcast. That's our handle, Instagram and Twitter. Patreon if you want bonus stuff. Right now we're streaming live. Hey, live streamers.
Oh, hey, live streamer.
The live stream episodes, you basically get them in a week in advance.
Yeah.
You get to watch the process and you have access to it all week. So if you can't watch it right when we're filming, you can watch it retroactively. And we love you guys.
He's confident with that word.
He
now.
uses
I've
that
been
word
using
a lot.
it. I've been using it for weeks, baby. But we do love you guys, and
So
we'll
much.
see you around next time.
next time.
See ya.